So some of you have requested that I do more video. Seems that some people get more out of a video presentation than they do from reading a blog. And so we're just trying to help you folks out. This presentation is probably not going to be, what would I say, phone friendly, because I think it's going to require quite a bit of screen real estate. So it would probably be better viewed on a tablet or even better on a computer. So let's get into it. So those of you who are scriptorians will know that this phrase right here, "and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal," is from Revelation chapter 6, verse 12. And we're going to be discussing what John says in chapter 6. But what we're also going to do is we're going to do a comparison with D&C 88. And I think you can see now why you're going to need some screen real estate to follow along with this. So what I'm proposing here is that these two passages are talking about the same events. They sort of equal each other, except that in Revelation you'll get certain insights. In D&C you get other insights, but and then you put the two together, and your understanding of this whole sequence, I think, has the potential of really blossoming and growing. So we'll start with the first part of each of these two passages. Revelation 6, "And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when it is shaken of a mighty wind." Okay, not too hard to see that D&C 88 is that equivalent. "For not many days hence, and the earth shall tremble and reel to and fro as a drunken man. And the sun shall hide his face, and shall refuse to give light. And the moon shall be bathed in blood. And the stars shall become exceedingly angry, and shall cast themselves down as a fig that falleth off a fig tree." So that's, like I say, that's one of the areas that's almost identical. Okay, a little different language, but obviously, talking about the same event. And we want to especially note this little segment here, "and when he had opened the sixth seal." So that frames everything as far as these two passages are concerned, and tells us what part of the timeline we're talking about. Okay, so verse 14 in Revelation gives us something that you don't find in D&C 88. "And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together." And so we can expect, as all of these events here unfold, somewhere in this sequence we'll see the heaven depart as a scroll. Section 88 gives us information that we don't get over here in Revelation 6, starting with 89. "For after your testimony cometh the testimony of earthquakes, that shall cause groanings in the midst of her, and men shall fall upon the ground, and shall not be able to stand. And also cometh the testimony of the voice of thunderings, and the voice of lightnings, the voice of tempests, the voice of waves heaving themselves beyond their bounds. And all things shall be in commotion, and surely men's hearts shall fail them, for fear shall come upon all people. And angels shall fly through the midst of heaven, crying with a loud voice, sounding the trump of God, saying, prepare ye, O inhabitants of the earth, for the judgment of our God is come. Behold, and lo, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. Okay, so imagine that you're these guys over here, and you hear all of this declared from the heavens. Angels blowing trumpets, the voice of thundering, the voice of lightning, the voice of tempest, and then the angels sounding, which would cause great fear to come upon everyone, right? These guys are obviously in fear over here. They hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, okay? And then verses 16 and 17, and said unto the mountains and rocks, fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? And so if you've ever wondered why these people would know that the great day of God's wrath had come, it's because all of this information here given in section 88 will be declared from the heavens. Can you see how the two sections fit hand in glove together, or these two passages fit hand in glove together? Okay, and so let's focus here for a second on verse 92. And angels shall fly through the midst of heaven, crying with a loud voice, sounding the trump of God, saying, prepare ye, O inhabitants of the earth, for the judgment of our God is come. Behold, and lo, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. And so who's the bridegroom here? And that's Christ. And who's the bride? Well, we know the church is the bride, don't we? Okay, and so this is the fulfillment of the parable of the 10 virgins. And we know that Christ is going to appear first in Missouri. And so we, as the bride, will have to go out and meet him. Okay, so let's focus on verse 93 now. And immediately there shall appear a great sign in heaven, and all people shall see it together. So what do you think this great sign is? Could it be the sign of the Son of Man? Well, let's do some comparison here with Joseph Smith Matthew. Let's just read through here. And again shall the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet be fulfilled. And immediately after the tribulation of those days the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And as I said before, after the tribulation of those days, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken, then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Okay, so we've got the judgment of God here in D&C 88. We have the abomination of desolation here over in Matthew, okay? And then immediately after the tribulation of those days, something's going to happen. Well, then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And over here we see, and immediately there shall appear a great sign in heaven, and all people shall see it together. So it sort of all ties together, doesn't it? When the bridegroom comes is when this part of Matthew will see its fulfillment, because he's going to come to the saints. Okay? And here's another interesting point here. Over here in Joseph Smith Matthew. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then down here, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So which is it? Is it the sign of the Son of Man, or is it the coming of the Son of Man? And I would propose that it's both, uh, because the Lord's going to come to his saints, and so to them it is the coming of the Son of Man. But to the rest of the world, it's the sign of the Son of Man. They're just seeing these things happen. They don't know what it means. They don't understand it, but they're going to see it. So let's go to Joseph Smith's statement about this. He says, "How are we to see it?" Answer: as the lightning up of the morning, and the dawning of the morning cometh from the east, and shineth unto the west, so also is the coming of the Son of Man. The dawning of the morning makes its appearance in the east, and moves along gradually, and so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. It will be small at its first appearance, and gradually become larger, until every eye shall see it. Shall the saints understand it? Oh, yes. Paul says so. Shall the wicked understand it? Oh, no. They attribute it to natural causes. They will probably suppose that it is two great comets coming in contact with each other. It will be small at first, and will grow larger and larger, until it will be all ablaze, so that every eye shall see it. And so this segment in D&C 88, every eye is going to see it. This isn't a secret. This, the segment really is, in the end, well, not in the end, because there's more to it, but it really is a segment, telling you what's going to happen leading up to the Lord's first appearance. Okay, we're still here in section 88, but we've slid down a few verses. And we've got Joseph Smith Matthew on the right-hand side again. And so we're at this point where the bridegroom comes, and we have to go out and meet him. And the sign of the Son of Man is given. And then in verse 94, the angel says, another angel sounds, and another angel shall sound his trump, saying, the great church, the mother of abominations, that made all nations drink of the wine of her wrath, of her fornication, that persecute the saints of God, that shed their blood, she who sitteth upon many waters, and upon the islands of the sea. Behold, she is the tares of the earth. She is bound in bundles. Her bands are made strong, so no man can loose them. Therefore, she is ready to be burned, and he shall sound his trump both long and loud, and all nations shall hear it. So there is a declaration by the angel saying, these bad guys, the judgments have come, and these bad guys, the great and abominable church, has been taken down. They have gone through the judgment of God and the abomination of desolation. And of course, with all this ends up with Christ coming, his first appearance. And so what would that first appearance mean? Well, it means that the seventh seal is open. It means that we're in the millennium. And what does John tell us in Revelation 8:1 happens when the seventh seal opens? Well, that's when the half-hour silence starts, right? And so we have that reflected here in verse 95. And there shall be silence in heaven for the space of half an hour. Okay? That's the next thing that happens. And so everything that we would read from that point on in section 88 are things that are fulfilled after the half hour of silence. But there are events that happen within the half hour of silence that are not mentioned here. So D&C 88 is taking you right up to the Lord's first appearance and the destruction of the wicked, and then it jumps forward 21 years. And so when we read here, and immediately after the curtain of heaven is unfolded, as a scroll is unfolded, after it is rolled up, the face of the Lord shall be unveiled. Okay? That's at the end of the half hour of silence. And that's after the Lord comes first to his saints. That's after the Lord appears to the Jews, which will be, that appearance to the Jews will be right here. It's in the half hour of silence. It's not mentioned here in D&C 88. Okay, so after reviewing what I just said, I need to make a clarification here. And that is that this destruction of the wicked here, the great and abominable church, is not the destruction of all the wicked. This is the destruction of, let's say, the globalists, the ones who are trying to impose global rule upon us right now. They're going to go down. But that isn't all the wicked, because you still got those who are going to lay siege against Jerusalem, and that is still, further on down the road. So let's go ahead and review what happens after the half hour of silence. And immediately after the curtain of the heaven is unfolded, as a scroll is unfolded after it is rolled up, and the face of the Lord shall be unveiled. Okay? So that's really his third appearance. And the saints that are upon the earth who are alive shall be quickened and caught up to meet him. They're quickened. They will be changed from telestial to terrestrial. The earth is about to undergo that change as well, or the earth is going to receive its paradisical glory, and those who are mortal and upon the earth will be caught up while that change goes on and set down later on. Verse 97, and they who have slept in their graves shall come forth, for their graves shall be opened, and they also shall be caught up to meet him in the midst of the pillar of heaven. They are Christ the first fruits, they who shall descend with him first, and they who are on the earth and in their graves, who are first caught up to meet him, and all this by the voice of the sounding of the trump of the angel of God. So those saints, the first fruits, in other words, they're the good guys, the celestial candidates. They're also caught up to meet him. And then 99, and after this another angel shall sound, which is the second trump. And then cometh the redemption of those who are Christ at his coming, who have received their part in that prison which is prepared for them, that they might receive the gospel and be judged according to men in the flesh. So this is the terrestrial. They receive a resurrection at this time as well. Verse 100, and again another trump shall sound, which is the third trump. And then cometh the spirits of men who are to be judged and are found under condemnation. And these are the rest of the dead, and they live not again until the 1,000 years are ended, neither again until the end of the earth. So these are the telestial and one other group. Verse 102, and another trump shall sound, which is the fourth trump, saying, there are found among those who are to remain until that great and last day, even the end, those who shall remain filthy still. Okay, that would be the sons of perdition. Okay, so we're going to wind this up by asking, how close are we to the abomination of desolation? How close are we to this transition? And let's read what Ezra Taft Benson said about our day. He said, "But on the other hand, if the Gentiles on this land reject the word of God and conspire to overthrow liberty in the Constitution, their doom is fixed, and they shall be cut off from my people who are of the covenant." Now, if you're paying any attention at all, it's pretty obvious that this is going on right now. And I don't say this to frighten anyone, but I say it because it's a sign. He goes on to say, "The great destructive force which was to be turned loose on the earth, and which the prophets for centuries have been calling the abomination of desolation, is vividly described by those who saw it in vision. Ours is the first generation to realize how literally these prophecies can be fulfilled now that God, through science, has unlocked the secret to thermonuclear reaction." Okay, so that's what Ezra Taft Benson says will be the abomination of desolation. And on the Gentiles, you see here, he is mentioning the Gentiles up here. And Second Nephi concurs. Nephi concurs with that here in Second Nephi, verse 16 or 11 through 16. "And this land shall be a land of liberty unto the Gentiles, and there shall be no kings upon the land, who shall rise up unto the Gentiles." So the Lord established the Constitution. He established the governance of this land. He saw this coming. Of course, he knows everything, doesn't he? So he sees this coming. And he says, "And I will fortify this land against all other nations. And he that fighteth against Zion shall perish, saith God. For he that riseth up a king against me shall perish. For I, the Lord, the King of heaven, will be their king. And I will be a light unto them forever. And that hear my words." Okay? So this, what we're seeing, the Gentiles trying to overthrow the Constitution, overthrow what the Lord has set up that would have naturally led us into Zion. They're trying to disrupt what's going on. They're on Satan's side. And when this happens, it's a sign to us that the Lord is about to step in and put them down, and he will be our king. 15. For this cause, that my covenants may be fulfilled, which I have made unto the children of men, that I will do unto them while they are in the flesh." Okay? During the terrestrial part of the earth's history. He keeps all those covenants. But then at the end of the half-hour silence, we're going to go into another phase beyond the while we are in the flesh, because we're going on to the terrestrial. Okay? "I must needs destroy the secret works of darkness and of murders and abominations. Wherefore, he that fighteth against Zion, both Jew and Gentile, both bond and free, both male and female, shall perish. For they are they who are of the whore of all the earth. For they who are not for me are against me, saith our God." And so, as frightening as things are right now, it's also really very exciting when you realize that we just need to follow President Nelson's counsel. Buckle our seat belts, prepare for the bumps, and hang in there and do what's right, and all will be well with us. Thanks for listening.